Let me first welcome all of you who are on the call. I am at the moment, we are using the technology to the hilt. I am sitting in Bangalore. Rajesh Miglani, who has joined us, who will also be a presenter, is in Delhi. My other team members are in Delhi, and all of you are coming from different regions of the country. So it is truly a webinar of sorts where we are using IT to the hilt. One of the things that which actually meets the theme of this webinar, which is valuation of energy costs in the Indian context. And here we are providing the value to the energy that we use. And perhaps this is the best example of connecting together with the least energy cost. With this introduction, let me just give you a brief that we have embarked on this study with the support of the coalition, the Carbon Pricing Leadership Coalition, which is part of the World Bank and the IFC. And this is a survey-based study of select companies. And what we are planning to do in this study is to understand and gauge the preparedness of corporate India if there was a valuation of energy costs. As you all know, at the moment, energy is priced, but it does not provide or indicate its true price. And hence, in the future, if there is a need be, then how does India, corporate India, prepare itself? Once again, welcome to you all. And of course, we would have with us panelists who are our peer leads of the event of this Annapurna Vancheshwaran and given the introduction, but just the project objective part of my hosts are coming on my screen, but I hope there is a thumbs up from everyone who can see the screen. So we are going to understand the valuation of energy in the Indian context, as I had mentioned, and this will be through a survey. And then we would showcase these results in one of our flagship events, which is on starting from the 5th and ends on the 8th of October this year. I have been involved with this flagship event since its beginning, which is 2001. The last 15 years, I have been convening this event. And just to give you a quick brief, that this is one of the largest platform which talks about sustainability for this region. So I also provide, while welcoming you, I also invite you to be part of this Sustainable Development Summit, which will be in October, where we will showcase the results of the study for which all of you are present here today. The project phase, as we've said, that we would have, it would be a survey mode. There would be discussions and consultations with over 450 corporate leaders. We'd had one event in Bombay on the 7th of June, where some of our peer leads were with us, where we discussed how we should go about with this project. We are at the moment on phase 2 of the project, which has begun from now, which is in August. We will end in September. And if you would see that we have formed our advisory committee, we have formed our peer leads, and we have our sectoral leads. There are going to be a questionnaire segment in which we would be detailed out the questions by the end of this program. And there would be corporate consultations. We'll urge all of you to join us in these corporate consultations. The summary reports on business preparedness will be tabled at the WSDX. And we also do hope that we would take this and table it at COP22, where we had earlier last year looked at the corporate vision of India, and we had tabled it in Paris. Just to give you a quick note, this will be available on our website. We have a very eminent project advisory board. And one of the facts that go behind this is all of them have committed to a carbon pricing regime within their organizations. They are also part of the Carbon Pricing Leadership Coalition. The phase one, the leadership program, which was in June in Mumbai, of course, we had several leaders and we also had the commitment of our then environment minister who has now moved, but we would also bring in our new minister for this activity. Today, phase two, as I mentioned, we have over 60 companies who have signed on to be part of this journey. And I'm just sharing with you a quick pie chart of the different sectors that are involved. This clearly shows the enthusiasm and the interest and the knowledge requirement that is there, that is expected from that is wanted by the industry. And I hope our peer leads will support us as we go along with their advice. And as they have been interacting with several other organizations across countries. So we are going to be today rolling out the questionnaire, and then of course we would analyze it, and we would like each one of you to help us in this journey. The carbon pricing or the valuation of energy cost project is not just Terry's, it's not just the World Bank or IFC's, it is our corporate India's project. And I do hope that with these words, I would have the commitment and the pledge of all of you who are committed to this and are here with us today, and who would also be joining us in our subsequent seminar webinars. I am now moving the baton to Mr. Rajesh Miglani, who has been the keen supporter of this project from India, who heads and is the Senior Climate Business Specialist, South Asia IFC. And we would like to hear from him what does the carbon markets present in the world and their relevance in the Indian context, as he is one of the batons for us in taking this project forward. Over to Rajesh.
Thanks, Annapurna. Before I speak about the global carbon markets, I want to quickly talk about World Bank Group led initiative, which you said, CPLC, Carbon Pricing Leadership Coalition. This is a platform which aims to bring together public and private sector with the goal of implementing effective carbon pricing. So there are various global tier leaders, and like Jim Kim, our World Bank president, IMF, Christine Lagarde, Christiana Figueres, Angela Merkel. So we have a lot of public leaders who are advocating for the carbon pricing, and they feel that this is the most effective policy for reducing emission carbons. As far as the carbon markets are concerned, they are popping up around the world. We have more than a dozen carbon markets now operating, putting a price on 12% of global GHG emissions as of now. Aside from the European Union carbon market, which you are aware of, which started in 2005, now it's being operated in California, Quebec, South Korea, and among the developing world, China has adopted it. In fact, there is a pilot going on in China in various cities like Shanghai, Tianjin, and Guangdong. China is going to open a national carbon market in 2017. So if you analyze what is the major driver for China to start the emission trading, this is primarily to overcome the air pollution problem which they're facing. They are very concerned about the societal cost. They are also committed to meet the targets which they spelled out in INDC, and also linking with the other markets like European Union in the near future would help them to sell credits to the developed world at a higher price, because China has a coal dominated grid, and the maximum bang for the buck in terms of the GHG avoidance will come from countries like China and India. So European Union, for example, is helping right now South Korea as well as China to support their emission trading market. So I think India has to learn from China that why they are starting the national carbon market, and this is something which we have to analyze. World Bank and IMF has said that we will extend the carbon pricing footprint to 25%. As I said, we are right now at 12%. So by 2020, we would like that if carbon pricing footprint can be enhanced up to 25% emissions, and by 2030, almost 50%. So I don't want to scare you by telling that carbon market tomorrow could be global. As of now, these are voluntary initiatives. There are no binding. Say, for example, China is not supposed to buy any carbon credits as of now. It is voluntary as of now. But you never know that the carbon markets tomorrow could be global, and there might be an obligation for private sector in India to adopt a global carbon price. So it would be good, if companies, you're representing companies, if you could plan in advance to address the future policy and regulatory risk associated with carbon emissions. In fact, internalizing the carbon price ahead of the carbon regulatory mechanisms can provide valuable hands-on experience. We had a seminar in Mahindra a few months back where ACC, the cement company, told us that they internalized the carbon price way back in 2006, and there has never been any impact on their profitability. Likewise, Total Oil and Gas, they said that we have carbon price in every jurisdiction, including where there is no carbon pricing framework. So what I'm trying to say is that as of now, the carbon markets, which are present in the world, are not going to impact your profitability or are not going to impact Indian sector, but we need to learn from them that why China is doing. There are a number of companies which have internalized the carbon price. So my colleagues will be talking about their examples and the value add. And we have representation from the industry also, which Anirban will say that what is the driver for them to adopt a carbon price. So I'll stop here and now hand over it to Annapurna or Vivek.
My colleagues in Delhi who are on ground zero to take over and moderate the session. I think Mr. Vivek Adya should be with us. We can't see him. He is going to be on audio. Is that true? So I am with this asking my colleague Abhishek to take over and coordinate the rest of the session while we also are part of the, I'm also as part of the participation.
Thank you, Dr. Annapurna, for your introductory remarks, and thank you, Rajesh, for sharing some of the insights of global carbon market, especially in China. May I now call Vivek to share his views on how companies are looking at internalizing carbon pricing and stuff related to accounting their greenhouse gas emissions. Vivek, over to you.
Thank you. So thanks. That was a big, wonderful overview by Rajesh in terms of how carbon markets are shaping up globally. What I'll try and do is try and put together some thoughts going deeper into carbon markets and talking more about carbon pricing and how that would mean for a business and what does an internal pricing carbon mean for overall businesses per se globally, and how we can learn from some of the developments that are happening here. Next slide, please. So if I try and define what do we mean by carbon pricing, it's a very simplistic, dimension which we can look into. So whether it's the right to emit emissions and the costs associated with that, or whether it's the right to abate. So there are two key notions here when companies or governments decide to put up a price on carbon, and eventually, if an entity has an X amount of ton CO2 equivalent and they want to continue to emit that for a particular period of time, what could be the associated cost? And if we are able to bring those costs into the financial dynamics, it kind of helps to accelerate the transformation there. So in very simplistic terms, carbon pricing is defined as that amount which must be paid to for emitting 1 ton of CO2 equivalent into the atmosphere. And there are two clear-cut pathways. So when governments look at carbon pricing, they either look at a cap and trade or an emissions trading scheme. So EU ETS is what we've been seeing since so many years now. China, Rajesh spoke about, South Africa has a carbon tax. But when we look at companies, there are different ways to do this. One is a shadow price. So basically, there is no transaction happening. Shadow price is a useful measure or a tool to build price on carbon into the overall decision making for project approval, for making investments, for shifting investments, while the explicit or implicit tax, as they call it, is a part of the overall initiative to bring in an additional set of funds or unlock certain additional funds from the operating expenditures or as a part of the engagement with customers or other players in the value chain, and how some of these funds created by the internal tax could be used to make more investments into the renewable energy efficiency or low carbon space. So clear-cut dimensions, but simple terms, the same principle applies, polluter pays. For carbon trade schemes, usually the overall emissions are fixed and the price is determined by the market, whereas for a tax, usually the price is determined and the amount of emission reduction cut that could be possible is determined by the implementing authorities. Next slide, please. I just wanted to give an example to better understand in the corporate perspective. We saw about explicit, implicit carbon taxes, and we saw shadow price that keeps, that's one of the useful measures that companies use. So here, what I'm trying to do is put up 6 examples from various organizations who have used different set of approaches and how they are applying this into the overall perspective. So taking the case of Swiss Re, which is a refinancing firm, insurance firm in Switzerland, they did select, there was transactions happening actually at the group level and across their regional offices or divisional offices. So they did select a tax. They did ensure that there was flow of funds from the regional offices to the group corporate. But what they tried to do was they tried to map out what were the emissions profile of the organization. And if we saw most of the emissions came out of employee travel because people had to go, sell insurance policies, talk to people, and so on. And therefore, they said that, okay, we will reduce our air travel by a particular point or a dimension there, and they put a price on carbon for their scope 3 or employee travel related emissions. What they did after that, is they could cut down on the travel costs and on. So that example and host of others will be shared by you later. But when companies determine a price, less than $20 is where the actual transactions happen, whereas between 20 to 40, $50, what we've seen is more on the decision-making side. So when shadow pricing is used by a company, they keep the price as high as possible so as to materially affect investment decisions. So there are these 2 prices, and you could see no one price fits all. Next slide, please. In India, we've been seeing that there is already an existing mechanism which looks at pricing. So businesses who have been relying on diesel sets and purchasing fossil fuels for their operations are already paying an implicit carbon tax, which is implied in the form of the excise duty. So there are statistics released by the Finance Commission and the other reports which are out there in the official space, and they kind of reveal that we've already reached about $60 for petrol and $130, $140 for diesel as a price on carbon. Similarly, we have a coal cess, which is now termed into the National Environmental Cess, which is collected on the purchase of coal that's being used. So there are these different regimes that already exist, and knowingly or unknowingly, businesses in India are a part of this, and they are paying for various implied taxes there. Next slide. So in short, there are different approaches. Price on carbon is the price that is being used for mapping out the financial implications on emissions. There are different approaches there: shadow price, implicit price, explicit price. There are examples where companies have used different approaches and they have kind of implemented this either by flowing or transactions happening or either by using it into the decision making, and there are some regulatory things ongoing which are of interest to India, and therefore there is a need to prepare for this. So thank you so much for this. I'll be available to answer any questions or provide more details later on.
Thank you, Vivek, for sharing some of very useful information on the various methods of carbon pricing, including explicit, implicit, and shadow pricing. Now, may I request Mr. Anirban Ghosh, Chief Sustainability Officer, Mahindra Group, to share how Mahindra is, since Mahindra is one of the companies signatory to Carbon Pricing Leadership Coalitions, and just to share with you, we have in total 6 companies in India who are signatories to Carbon Pricing Leadership Coalition. So may I now call upon Mr. Anirban Ghosh to share Mahindra's experience on internalizing carbon pricing and what are the challenges that they are facing in terms of internally implementing this kind of initiative. Mr. Ghosh, over to you.
At Mahindra, we are looking at carbon pricing as a very interesting opportunity, an opportunity to drive activities in an area which we think is completely imperative. Because as all of you know, unless there is a sharp reduction in the emissions, the world is headed for difficult times ahead. Now, it appears that 90 corporations around the world are responsible for 67% of the world's emissions. These numbers are probably not researched in India, but if we were to do it in India, I won't be surprised if something similar were to come up. So in Mahindra, we are looking at using the tool of carbon pricing to reduce our emissions and to reduce our carbon footprint to achieve the ultimate goal of becoming carbon neutral, if not carbon positive. You heard from Vivek about the different ways organizations can use carbon pricing or are using carbon pricing. We are actually looking at both the shadow pricing method as well as the explicit pricing method. And we are doing that because these two are not mutually exclusive and are used for different purposes within the organization, and together are likely to have greater impact than when used one at a time. And that's because when you have an explicit carbon price where there is a commitment to invest in low carbon technologies and reduce your carbon footprint, there is an actual investment that is made, that is, there is use of funds. In the case of shadow price, it is used in a way in which future investments, future acquisitions have a carbon price attached to it, and the decision taken to acquire new equipment which creates future carbon footprint, or to acquire new businesses which again will have its own carbon footprint and will bring in with it a legacy of creating carbon footprint. So the shadow price helps in making sure that we are investing in things which will have a lower carbon footprint in the future, and the explicit price helps in making sure that the existing business keeps reducing its carbon footprint. These are actions that are being contemplated within the Mahindra Group, and I must share that there is a very active practice of adopting low carbon technologies within the group itself. So when an announcement does come, it won't come as something that we will do in the future, but it will be a reflection of actions that are being taken by the group, not just today, but from quite some years ago. As a result of which today, the emissions that are produced per vehicle manufacturer is about 33% lower than they were 7 or 8 years ago. So this is why, because we are on a path towards carbon neutrality, because the reduction of emissions is a necessity, and because corporations must play a key role, and because we find that carbon pricing is an effective tool to make this happen within the organization, we are on the path of adopting a carbon price for ourselves. That's what I wanted to share. I'll be happy to address questions at the appropriate time. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Mr. Ghosh, for sharing some of the very valuable insights on how Mahindra as a group is looking at pricing carbon internally and looking this as a tool to reduce your greenhouse gas emissions. Now moving forward, just to interact more with all the participants who have joined us for this webinar, we are doing a live polling wherein you will shortly receive 2 questions on your screen, and you just need to click one of the options and followed by which we will share the results with you. So the first question here comes is, does your company price its GHG emissions internally? And for this we have very less time, so you just need to choose it very quickly among option yes or no. I am repeating the question once again. Does your company price carbon emissions internally? Can I share the results now? Yeah. Okay. So, okay, here we go. So we have received the results from all the participants who actually participated in this polling round. And out of total respondents, we have 20% of them responded yes, we does pricing on the carbon emissions internally, whereas 31% to be very precise said that we do not do carbon pricing internally. So which indicates a clear demarcation between the fact that most of the Indian corporates right now are looking at this as a tool to actually reduce their greenhouse gas emissions, and possibly moving forward they would also need to have some kind of framework so that they can actually also look at this kind of mechanisms to reduce their greenhouse gas emissions. Moving forward with our next question. Okay, so here it goes. So the second question is, how does your organization reflect its greenhouse gas related information? Like we know that most of the companies come up with some kind of reporting for disclosing their sustainability related information. So here we would like to know from all the participants to please poll their answer on this question, which is on, does your organization reflect its greenhouse gas related information? And we have the options: A, sustainability report; B, corporate social responsibility report; C, on your company website; D, in your annual report; or the final option is no, we don't report anywhere. For this we have a time limit of 30 seconds for you to respond to this question. Okay, great. So we have the results with us. Just to share with you, out of the total respondents, majority of them voted for sustainability report. So which is very clear that majority of these companies, the participating companies, are reporting their greenhouse gas related information in their sustainability report. Few of these companies also report their greenhouse gas related information on their website, and rest of these companies report somewhere in their annual report or some other mode of reporting. Okay, so we are through with the polling round now. We will, in any case, will share the results with you post this webinar discussion. and we look forward to receive more responses on the questionnaire that we will discuss at the end of this webinar. Before that, may I now request Mr. Damandeep Singh, Director of CDP India, to share how companies are internally pricing carbon and how CDP as a disclosure platform helping companies to disclose their greenhouse gas performance. Over to you, Mr. Singh.
Yes. Okay, so we've heard about what is an internal price of carbon, and Vivek has spoken about it. And but initially, just to mention, first of all, to thank Terry to include CDP as a peer lead, as well as the other participants for making their time available today. What we are is just to mention and take the baton forward from what Rajesh said, and also what Annapurna, you said, that the world is changing and so on. The whole idea is that we're already in a change scenario where nearly 1,000 companies are talking about a price on carbon. Last year, we had over 460 companies out of the 5,600 companies that respond to CDP have already disclosed a price on carbon. But you see a figure on your screen that says 1,000 companies. Now, this is actually, in our questionnaire, we also ask companies that even if you don't have a, and this you might think of incorporating that in the Terry questionnaire, is that even if you don't have a price on carbon now, do you see that you would be integrating that in the near future? And over 550 companies said that they would be. So that gives us a figure of 1,000 companies in the next 2 years that have committed that they will integrate a price on carbon and declare it publicly. So this is an important aspect. And Abhishek, next time you do your polling, it would be interesting if you also include CDP in your responses on how companies declare their carbon pricing and so on. Next slide, please. Yeah. So, but why are they doing this? Why are we even talking about this? This is actually an important question, and one of the main drivers is because now the investors are asking for this. There are investors that have assets under management of nearly $24 trillion that are asking for a price on carbon. So whether companies have to be prepared if they want foreign investments. India needs a large amount of investments in the infrastructure funds and so on. So if these are the investors that are telling us, CDP works with nearly 867 investors, which have a combined asset under management of $100 trillion. Of these, a fourth of them are already asking for a price on carbon, which could be because there is new regulation that's coming up in Europe and other territories that we've heard from Rajesh, and that this is an important way of developing new tools, and that allows passive investors to make carbon emissions of index-based portfolios. Climate-based funds, and there is evidence to suggest that climate-based funds are outperforming traditional funds. This is a study done by Morgan Stanley from a period of 2008 to 2014. Over the 6-year period, they found that 2/3 of the time frame that they chose, the ESG funds, the funds that factored in sustainability factors, outperformed the benchmark index than the normal indices. Next one. So here's the breakdown of companies that are already using a price on carbon by territory on the left and by sectors on the right. I'd be happy for the organizers to share the slides and so on. I'm sorry, the formatting seems to have gone a bit haywire because I was trying to compress 2 or 3 slides into one of these. So I'll clean it up and send it around. This is these are the figures from last year. This year's figures disclosure period has just closed a few weeks ago, and we're tabulating those figures, and they will be available. In fact, in September during Climate Week in New York, we will be releasing a new report on global price on carbon, which actually brings in now some of the other companies we have demonstrated over the last 2 years as part of CPLC and a corporate outreach member of the World Bank, on what the world's largest companies are doing on carbon pricing. This year's report will stress on what some of the some of the second tier companies, some of the ones that are also now integrating these into their systems and working along those lines. The report will talk about the headline numbers. It'll talk about corporate goals. It'll highlight disclosure, talk about policy preparedness, and also give a regional breakdown and a deep dive. So we will have those figures. Again, what are the advantages of carbon pricing? I think both Abhishek and Rajesh have spoken about it. You assess your risks and opportunities and work along those lines. So, and also you drive energy and operation efficiencies. You can forecast capital investment and channel investment to low carbon and clean technologies, as Anirban mentioned, and fund clean energy and carbon efficiency projects. Next one, please. So this is in this year's questionnaire, which we're hoping a lot of the companies that are present have answered and have answered this question. We're just tabulating those figures. Last year we had only one company declare publicly their price on carbon in India, and we're hoping to get that figure up this year, but we will get to know in the next one. So these are the questions. Can you go back to the previous slide, please? So how this works is that we ask this question: does your company have an internal price on carbon? When you answer yes, or if you say no, do you anticipate it in the next 2 years? And if you don't anticipate it, why don't you? Next one, please. And this question then goes on to asking you to provide details on what your company does in each of these. There are other resources that are available on CDP's website, and there are links. We have a pathways document that helps companies address these issues and how to come about it and learn from what their peers are doing, and we'd be happy to share those. Next one, please.
Thanks, Damandeep, for sharing some of the details on how companies are reporting based on the CDP questionnaire, their greenhouse gas performance, and globally, how many companies are now looking this as a serious step to reduce their greenhouse gas emissions. Moving forward with our second last discussion point on the webinar agenda, we will be briefly discuss with all the participants. Now, as Dr. Annapurna mentioned in her introductory remark, that one of the critical element of this project will be to gauge corporate understanding, or should I say preparedness on reducing their greenhouse gas emissions. So we would like to capture this kind of information maybe in the form of a questionnaire that we will roll out to all the companies soon after this webinar, that will capture some of the critical elements of how a company right now is reporting its greenhouse gas emissions, and what are the initiatives that Indian corporates are already considering for working towards reducing their greenhouse gas emissions. So broadly, to share with all the participants, we divided the questionnaire into 5 major subsections. The first one is wherein we are looking at corporate actions to address climate change. Now we know that majority of Indian companies are already doing so much in bits and pieces, and they are actually using platforms like Sustainability Report, CDP Questionnaire, Annual Report, and their company website to disclose their actions to address climate change. In this questionnaire, we would like to capture this information from you as a participant. What are the actions that you have taken for addressing climate change and environment-related issues? So we have around 5 to 6 questions under this subsection, which will talk about questions like whether your company, how your company is actually reducing its impact on environment, whether you measure your greenhouse gas emissions, whether you measure your energy use consumption, whether you conduct life cycle assessment of products and services. So there are very close-ended questions, and it will not take you more than 10 minutes to complete the entire questionnaire. Moving forward, the second part of the questionnaire is talking about experience with greenhouse gas inventories. So now, since we are aware that many of the corporates are already accounting their greenhouse gas emissions, and whether they are using any standard to actually measuring their carbon emissions, including GHG protocol, ISO standards, or if there are any internal guidelines or standards that they are following to actually account their greenhouse gas emissions. We will be also talking about in the second section about your, the detailing of the emissions accounting that you are doing in terms of if you are following, say, greenhouse gas protocol, whether you are covering scope 1, scope 2, or scope 3, and what is the extent to which you are actually accounting your greenhouse gas emissions in your facilities, including corporate office, manufacturing units, captive power plants, if applicable in your case, or any other operational boundary if you cover in your GHG boundary. The third part of the questionnaire will be talking about or gathering details related to your reduction targets. So here we will be having questions related to what is the kind of target which you are looking at. We certainly would not ask for the target as such, but yes, we would like to understand from the companies as to whether they have set an absolute greenhouse gas emission reduction target, or is there a GHG intensity reduction target? What is the target year? What is the base year as such? That would essentially help us to come out with an outline paper which we will table at the business day of World Sustainable Development Summit, like Dr. Annapurna mentioned. So by analyzing all these responses from the companies, we essentially are looking at, okay, so X number of companies are here, X number of companies are working towards their reduction target, or there are companies who are now far beyond from just inventorization or just meeting their reduction targets. There are, under the fourth subsection, there are some questions related to policy and advocacy. So here we are talking about, we are looking at if the companies are, are aware about the PAT scheme, whether they are designated consumers under the PAT scheme as such, or do they think that this PAT scheme helped the companies to cut down their emissions? Because when we are talking about PAT targets, energy-related reduction, we will also would like to see whether this will help you to actually reduce your greenhouse gas emissions. And finally, the internal carbon pricing related questions, wherein we will be talking about how whether you are taking some measures to internalize carbon emissions, pricing on the carbon emissions, and so on. So we will be sharing this detailed questionnaire with all the participants here, and we look forward to your response on the questionnaire. This is from my end. May I now request Dr. Annapurna, or maybe before that, we will do a quick question and answers to engage participating companies if they have any questions related to this project, related to the questionnaire that we discussed, or the global carbon pricing landscape as such. May I now request all the participants to please share their questions through chat box, and I then request our peer leads to please respond to those, or else we can take up those questions and respond to you through email to all the participants now, please.
Abhishek, perhaps we can, ask participants to click on the hand icon. They can raise their hand, and we can unmute them if they want to say something as well.
Yeah, sure. So we have one. Yeah.
Sorry.
Yeah. So we have one question from Mr. Anupam Badola from Dalmia Bharat Cement. Anupam, we are just unmuting your mic so that you can share your question with all the participants now. Anupam, can you hear us? Maybe you can share your question through chat box if you find it difficult to, because we are unable to hear you as such. I also request other participants to please share their comments, suggestions, any questions through using chat box.
I want to come in here, Abhishek.
Yeah, Dr. Annapurna, please.
Yeah, and I also want to urge all the participants, here's an opportunity. We've got these peer leads, IFC is there, Damandeep is there from CDP, Anirban is there who has complete knowledge on this, and we request the participants to ask some questions to our peer leads who have made their time. We have WRI, Mr. Vivek Adya is here with us. So,
so we have one question from, sorry to interrupt you, Dr. Annapurna. We have one question from Mr. Yogendra Verma from TCS. Is there any thought on trading exchange on carbon points? So I think Mr. Verma would like to ask this to all the to the peer leads, that any guesses on upcoming trading exchange on carbon points or something like that. I am assuming that this is something related to the CDM mechanism that we have seen in the past. I hope, Mr. Verma, I am right, or I pointed out your question correctly. Can I also request participants, if they would specifically like to answer their question among WRI, CDP, IFC, or TERI?
Abhishek, I can just make a beginning, because our work is mostly with companies, asking them to disclose, and towards a specific. These regulatory mechanisms and grouping these are basically policy driven. But there's an interesting experiment on in Brazil where 20 companies have come in and they've set up an internal trading mechanism, which is completely outside the government system, and it's actually a closed system where they don't even disclose to anyone what they're doing, but they have set up an internal trading mechanism wherein they want to see, one, have an internal price on carbon, and two, trade it amongst companies to see its efficacy and so on. So that might be an interesting lead to follow and to work upon on those. But also in this regard, I'd just like to quickly mention that we have our new director of carbon pricing in CDP, based out of London, Nicolette Bartlett, who's also today joined the webinar. So in case, Nikki, if you have any thoughts, let us know, and then I can pass this along, or you can just put it in the chat box.
Thanks, Damandeep, for answering this. We have some more questions coming up from the participants. I'll just begin with one question from Chintan Kanduti. His question is, are there any specifications for the companies to be participating in the questionnaire? Can startups like us with turnover less than 3 crore participate in this? Maybe Dr. Annapurna would like to add here. But if you are responding to questionnaire, this company's questionnaire, we are actually looking at how companies internally are looking at evaluating the cost of carbon emissions or the energy costs. We would be happy to have your response, because primarily we are looking at Indian corporates, and we essentially looking at how well Indian companies are prepared towards, or what are the kind of initiatives they are taking towards reducing their greenhouse gas emissions.
Abhishek, let me come in. Yes, I think all companies, we would like to have as many companies share their thoughts. This is just, as we said, we are not calling it carbon pricing, but saying it's the valuation of energy costs in the Indian context. India is not at the moment looking at it, but it is a visionary discussion that we are having, and we should have all companies getting involved. But Abhishek, before that, I think Daman had mentioned that Nicolette is with us right now, and is that right, Daman?
Let me just see if she's.
And it would be nice to hear her as well, if she is still with us.
Abhishek, you need to unmute her.
We just unmuted her. So, Nicolette, I hope you are. We unmuted you, so you may please add or pitch in here and share your thoughts on this. I think we are unable to hear her, so maybe we'll try to connect with her again.
Meanwhile, any other questions?
Yes. So moving forward to the next set of questions from Mr. Nagahari Krishna. Okay, so his question is valuation of energy cost. Is this a project researched by IFC or TERI, and which sectors and regions will be covered? Dr. Annapurna, may I request you to?
for the first phase, we are inviting all companies to come and talk to us, share with us what their preparedness is. So we are not looking at currently any of the sectors, but it is across all the entire industry. And this is a project which, of course, CPLC is the lead. It has been doing in different countries. They have a very good experience in Brazil. We are going to be understanding the knowledge that they have received. They are going to be our advisors here. IFC is part of it. CDP is part of it, and so is WRI. Just to let all the participants know, WRI, TERI, and the CII have, of course, the greenhouse gas emissions program in India. So we would be converging all this knowledge which is there already existing with TERI and the other institutions and organizations along with corporate India. So this is not, it is industry based.
Yeah. So, okay, moving forward to the next question. So we have so many from various participants. I'll just quickly run through the questions again. We have one question from Mr. Anupam Badola. Okay, so basically he would like to add here that I wanted to add that PAT in India is already an implicit pricing mechanism, which is also driving the companies towards internalization of carbon pricing. Okay, so Mr. Badola, yes, as you rightly mentioned here that, if we look at PAT scheme as such, which is essentially on looking at energy specific targets, but here we are talking about, things like, your greenhouse gas emissions and what the companies are doing, on internalizing some kind of method for reducing their greenhouse gas emissions. Can we go to next question now?
Yeah, just to add, yes, PAT is an implicit thing, but till they come up with a, an algorithm or a factor of converting those E-certs into CERs, I think then it'll become truly a carbon demand.
Yeah. One question from Mr. Yogendra Verma from TCS. Is there any legal norms in Indian context to make it mandatory to disclose carbon footprint? Does it help? May I request any of the peer lead to respond to this? I have a very small input on this, so maybe I can start with Damandeep or Vivek. Vivek, I hope you are still here with us. I am repeating the question once again. Is there any legal norms in Indian context to make it mandatory to disclose carbon footprints? Does it help?
Vivek, if you're there, speak up, or should I speak, Abhishek?
Yeah, please.
Okay. Yeah, so, there is no explicit legal requirement. So now there is, under the PAT scheme, as Anupam also mentioned, there is an implicit requirement that you're reporting on your energy costs and so on. You're already reporting on your energy in your annual report and so on. But there is no explicit requirement for carbon. But it's funny, a colleague from TCS should say that, because TCS has been responding to CDP for nearly 8 years now, and it's one of the top ranked companies. So I'm sure you would have found enough benefit in terms of reporting to CDP. And as a global company and India's most valued company, it has also helped it, win a lot of contracts by stating their leadership on this whole carbon space. Thanks.
Thank you, Damandeep, for responding to this as such. Yes, so we have one more question from Wipro. Mr. Pierre M. Munna would like to know some of the disadvantages of putting a price on carbon. Also, what is the way forward for a company once it has implemented carbon pricing? Rajesh, would you like to pitch in here and respond to this question?
Maybe Anirban can answer better. Anirban?
Mr. Ghosh, may I request you to
unmute me? Yeah.
Yes. Yeah.
Yeah. Give me the question again.
Yeah. Okay. So one person from Wipro raised this question, would like to know some of the disadvantages of putting a price on carbon. What is the way forward for a company once it has implemented carbon pricing and identified total value of its energy costs?
Disadvantage of, no. I've understood it clearly. No, I'm actually wondering if there is any disadvantage at all. I can't think of any. In fact, in all the things that we've discussed on carbon pricing, one of the conversations that came up was would unilateral adopting of carbon pricing affect competitiveness? But there is a paper by the CPLC that clearly shows that it does not. So I don't think there is any real danger or disadvantage in adopting carbon pricing. However, not adopting carbon pricing in the long run could prove to be a bit of a problem. Rajesh, would you agree?
Yeah, absolutely. So Anirban, as you rightly said, there was an article from CPLC on the competitiveness, and if it is in the public domain, we will send it to Abhishek and who can share with the participants. So I think, as I mentioned, ACC adopted the carbon price long time back in 2006. And the way the technology cost is going down, the low carbon technology costs are going down, I think you won't regret by adopting the carbon price. And as Vivek also mentioned, we have a kind of explicit carbon price in India, which is coal cess, and as Anupam from Sherry Cement said about that. So we have indirectly tax of around $7. So, so I don't think there is any disadvantage as long as the price is less than $10 as of now. But if you start taking $50, then I think you may be not competitive in the initial years, right?
But Rajesh,
Thanks. Yeah.
if they
Yeah,
use
sir, sorry to interrupt you, Mr. Miglani and Mr. Ghosh. So we are actually, I mean, we almost finished with some of. So we have received many other questions to discuss, but due to paucity of time, we would need to actually close this here. Maybe over email we will respond to the questions which will come from the participants. May I now finally request Dr. Annapurna for her concluding remarks, and post which we will also share a short movie about World Sustainable Development Summit. Dr. Annapurna, over to you.
Thank you, Abhishek, but I think we will cut short the movie, but I would urge you had stopped Rajesh and Anirban saying something very pertinent. Anirban, if you want to complete what you were saying, that would be very useful for the participants. And then I would just take about 45 seconds to end this webinar.
All I was saying was if the $50 carbon price were to be adopted as a shadow price, it would have no impact on competitiveness, but would help the organization prepare for the future. If it was adopted as an explicit price where there's a cash flow involved and investments involved, yes, then unless the P&L supports it, the price could prove to be very high, but that's the decision of the business, depending on whether the P&L supports it or not. That's all I wanted to hear.
Agreed.
Thank you. And also one of the slides which Daman showed clearly did say, also showed the slide where they're saying the advantages of going in for carbon pricing. With this, I know that Abhishek had to call this short because we have exceeded the time and people would want to go back to their work. But thank you, all of you. A huge thanks once again for joining to the first webinar that we are having on this project. We've just got less than 45 days to conclude this project and come up with some substantive action points for which will be tabled at the World Sustainable Development Summit, which is going to be held from the 5th to the 8th of October in New Delhi. As you all know that we have been hosting this event for the last 15 years. It is the 16th year is as prestigious. We are hoping to have the Honorable Prime Minister join us, and as soon as we get a yes, you will all get to know about it. We are all eagerly waiting. What I would like to state is that you can get onto the WSDS website. All the details are available. We would also be uploading the contents of this on our CBS website, which is the Council for Business Sustainability. You will have all the details. Some of the questions, Abhishek, as we say, that we would be sharing, much of the questions that have been asked, if we can cluster them together, we will ask, and I'm requesting our peer leads to support us here in putting in a proper answer to each one of them and share it to all the members who were present here and to all the others who could not join us today but have expressed interest to be part of this project. Last but not the least, we do want to see you in the subsequent webinars. There will be at least 3 more of them. And finally, at the World Sustainable Development Summit, there is going to be a 2-hour-long discussion, which will be called the Carbon Pricing Thematic Track. We will give it, of course, a better nomenclature. And we would invite you all to be present with us while we table the report of this discussions, which is the beginning today, and we'll have 3 more subsequent webinars. And the most important part is the questionnaire and the responses to the questionnaire from each one of you. So as I mentioned in the start, it is not a project of TERI, IFC, CPLC, and all our peer leads, which is CDP, IFC, and WRI, but it is India Inc.'s project, and I hope all of you will help us, support us, and guide us in this. Thank you all. Thank you for your participation and look forward to keeping in touch with you.
Thank you.
Over to Abhishek.
Yeah. Thank you, Dr. Annapurna, for your concluding remarks.